Hello, and welcome to the Jesus and a Cup of Joe podcast, the show that brings you a conversation about Jesus, the Bible, and life. Here is your host, Royce Bottoms.
Hey, I want to take this opportunity and welcome all of you to Jesus and a Cup of Joe. I'm glad you're able to take time out of your busy schedule to spend it with me. Here at Jesus and a Cup of Joe, I like to bring uplifting and encouraging messages about Jesus, the Bible, and life. Now, unless you've been living under a rock, you are probably all aware of the protesting that's taking place all across our country, in our major cities, even some of our smaller communities. The protest in the name of the gentleman from Minnesota who was killed here recently. And I've seen these protests, what they can do firsthand, not only in the county that I live in, that I'll share with you in a few minutes, but I've been watching what's happening in the city of Atlanta, where the protesting turned into rioting. So I wanted to start off today's show with some definitions from the Webster Dictionary. And the first word is hate, the feel of intense and passionate dislike for someone or something. Rioting, a violent disturbance of peace by a crowd. And last, protesting, the expression of disapproval or objection to someone or something. And the reason I wanted to share those definitions with you today is because we all heard and watched on television how this started off as a peaceful protest for the gentleman out of Minnesota. And then out of this peaceful protest turned around and hatred started flowing. And then rioting and looting started happening. And stores and people and just things were starting to be destroyed. And so I was thinking, I said, well, how can I talk about this subject of hate and it not become political? Because I too have experienced a form of hate. And to give you guys a little bit of a background, on January 17th, 1987, a gentleman by the name of Hosea Williams brought a few demonstrators, because that's what they called them back then, demonstrators, to Forsyth County because he believed Forsyth County was an all-white, racist county. Now, granted, Forsyth County, Georgia, is what I'm talking about, not North Carolina, but Georgia, had a stigma about it. It was also known as a sundown county, which I think in the late 70s and early 80s was anyone who worked in the county of color must be out of the county by sundown. Now, I am not condoning what the county I live in did, but that's some of the background. But he brought demonstrators up here, and then, in my opinion, because I witnessed it, in my opinion, there wasn't enough publicity. So, several days later, on January 24th, 1987, he brought 4 Greyhound bus loads of people from NAACP and got off at the intersection of Highway 141 and Highway 9, which is now known as Peachtree Parkway and Atlanta Highway. And he marched several hundred people in this group. He marched them from that intersection to downtown Cumming, Georgia, to the courthouse of Forsyth County, to where he was going to do a demonstration, discuss the racial tensions and all of this. Well, as I said before, he did not get the publicity that I believe he was looking for, in my opinion. So when he came back on the 24th of January, 2 other factions showed up to demonstrate also. So if you can imagine, as a teenager, standing there watching the NAACP, the Ku Klux Klans and the neo-Nazis all coming together to demonstrate. Because the NAACP said everybody hated them. The Ku Klux Klan hated the NAACP, and they didn't care for the neo-Nazis, and the neo-Nazis hated everybody. So you had 3 powder kegs coming together, and a bunch of people from the outside of this county, city, and state trying to light the fuse on this powder keg. And if you will, imagine the Georgia National Guard sitting up on top of the buildings with rifles trained down at the group that are gathering together. That's what I witnessed in the year 1987. And then later on in the early 90s, we witnessed it again in LA with Rodney King. Well, why have you said all this? I'm telling you all this because hatred does not bring peace. Hatred only breeds hatred. Matthew 5, verses 34 through 35 reads, Jesus said, if you have heard that it was said to love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I tell you, love your enemy and pray for those who persecute you, that you may be sons of your Father in heaven. Proverbs 8:13, to fear the Lord is to hate evil. I hate pride and arrogance, evil behavior and speech. The reason we have to stop the hatred from growing and spreading is because that is not what Jesus is about. And there are some people in this world that do not care about what Jesus is or is not about. Jesus went to the cross for you and I. He did it out of love. He didn't do it out of hatred. He didn't do it out of the name of this or the name of that, whatever organization, group, or subject. He did it because he loved us. God sent his only Son to this earth because he loved us. Jesus went willingly, laid down upon a cross, and allowed them to put nails into his flesh, put a crown of thorns upon his head. And before all that, he allowed them to mock him, to beat him, to ridicule him, all in the name of love. And when he hung upon that cross, when he was upon that cross dying, he did not sit there and say, shame on all of you that done this. Or he did not say, I hate every one of you. His words was very simple, but sharp and true today. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Whether it be Brunswick, Georgia, with a young man who just lost his life earlier this year, whether it be the gentleman in Minnesota, whether it be whoever in Chicago or California or wherever it is in this great United States, we should not be out there protesting and hurting and destroying people and property in the name of something. Jesus said we are the light of the earth. We are the light of the world and the salt of the earth. I should say. That we need to go out there and show our light among men. To let people see Jesus come from us out into the world, because the light will drive away the darkness. 1 John 2:9 reads, whoever says he's in the light and hates his brother is still in the darkness. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you today, the devil has this country. The devil has this world. The devil has a lot of people trapped. And the only way to break free of the devil is to turn your life over to Jesus. But we don't want to do that because there is no reward in that, in a present sense. Because if we're protesting and we're fighting and we're allowing the devil to control us, then we can loot and steal and have stuff, possessions. or we can do this, or we can do that. We could be on television. We could be socially trending. But if we follow a man named Jesus, all we have is peace in our heart. And why would we want that? I'm here to tell you today, that is the only way that we should be. That is the only reward that we should be chasing after, is having that peace in our heart. Why hate another man by the color of his skin? Why hate another man because of the way he was raised versus you? Jesus came to this earth and died because he loved us. Matthew 10:22 says, all men will hate you because of me, but he who stands firm to the end will be saved. Powerful words, because to stand for Jesus means the world will hate you. I'd rather stand for Jesus and let the world hate me than to stand for the world and disappoint Jesus. I'm here to tell you today, you can find peace and rest in the name of Jesus. You can find peace and rest by putting away your anger. And I know, because I could speak of anger on a personal level, because I watched everything that happened in the 80s. And I was labeled a racist. I was mocked and ridiculed as a racist. At the 4 years of my military career, at the beginning of those 4 years, I was ridiculed constantly in being labeled as a racist. Oh, you're the white kid from Forsyth County, Georgia. You're the one that doesn't like blacks. You're the one that did this. You're the one that did that. I know I lived through it. But I didn't allow anger to control my emotions. Now, I will share this. I didn't know Jesus during that time. I was still lost, but I knew not to let my fist do the talking. So I did it through education of people, because I was raised to love one another, whether you're white, black, yellow, brown, green, blue, or whatever. To me, you don't judge a man by the color of his skin, but you judge him by his character of which he presents to you. But the Bible also says, judge not yet, you be judged. Now, I could sit here and tell you I love one another, and I do. I love a lot of people in my heart. There are some people that I don't agree with, or there's some people I may not regard in a higher affection than others. But that's also because I'm human and I'm flesh, and I sin daily, and I have to seek forgiveness. I'm here to tell you today is the day that you can find rest in Jesus, and all you have to do is set it at the cross and turn it over to him. There's no sense of going out here and killing in the name of something just to make Satan more powerful. Today is the day that we take back and start loving one another as Jesus loved us, and he still loves us today. We got to love our neighbor. We got to love our enemy. We need to let that love shine through us into this world, and let the light run that darkness back into the corners. Because Jesus beat the death, he beat hell, and he beat the grave, and he's sitting at the right hand of the Father, and he's still making a way for you and I. There's no sense of hating anymore. It's time to stop and start loving. Romans 12:9, love must be sincere. Hate what is evil, cling to what is good. Love must be sincere. Hate what is evil and cling to what is good. So I challenge you as I get ready to close with this. As you go out today, find something to love. Find someone to love. Show that love. Don't allow that hate to hold on to you and trap you. Cling on to the love. Cling on to the word of Jesus. And show the world that you stand as a child of God, and that you're not going to take this garbage anymore. I want to thank all of you for spending your time with us here at Jesus and a Cup of Joe. And I can say with all of my heart that I do love each and every one of y'all that support this ministry and this podcast. I love each and every one of y'all. And I thank you for everything that you do. And I pray that you continue to support us by spreading our podcast and telling the people about us. But I pray for peace for this country, because we're already in hard times and bad times, and it's only going to get worse. So until next time, God bless each and every one of y'all. And I love you, and I'll talk to you soon.